This is the countdown that Sam normally makes. We're live on February 19th, and this is the second week in Sam's absence. So Richard's here, Rose is here, Richard is me, and Marco has joined us. Rose and I have been talking about some of the anomalies she's seeing with some of her students. What is it in the? It's in the Rails intro assignment.
The Rails
So
intro. Yeah.
so just summarizing that, I guess you can do that in a sentence or two just to know what we've been talking
Yeah,
about.
sure. So we had before the semester started, we had done a little check over of the Rails intro assignment, and we had determined that we could lock down the gem file to Ruby 2.3.0 and Rails what is it 4.2.6, I think.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, okay. And then the students started working on the intro assignment, and a number of them got a message saying that they had to upgrade to Ruby 2.3.1, that Ruby 2.3.0 was buggy. And in fact, they couldn't even migrate until they did that. But not all the students, which is puzzling. And I don't know if that's a time issue, that certain students started the assignment earlier and didn't get hit with this, and others started it later, and they were, maybe some change occurred where they had to do it. I'm a little mystified by this.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to figure it out, but I just want to give everybody a heads up. And I did put a note in on the BetaSaaSers channel in Slack. This happened.
Okay.
So I do have a note there, and we're supposed to. I'm still going over some intro stuff with some students today, and then later today we're supposed to be working on the BDD assignment. Next week they're going to have to have the acceptance unit test cycle. And I still have questions about making the tests better and not brittle.
Okay.
That was something I wanted to bring up.
Okay. So let's just do just a quick go around. So what I talked about on that first issue was that in a couple of weeks, when I give that to my class, I'll have my TAs try and experiment as if they were students to try and uncover if there are any version problems. So that's a little note that I'm making to myself now. Now, just as a little introduction for Marco here, basically Sam Joseph normally runs these meetings, and he has sort of much more of a wealth of expertise and knowledge. He's been away last week and is away this week. He expects to be back next week. So I'm just sort of the substitute host here. And normally when Sam is not here, often it's just Rose and I who sort of meet up for a little while and chat about what things are going on. That's all we had last week, and this week we have you here. So do you want to just introduce and tell us a little bit, and then we can continue, if you can tolerate this, we'll continue more substantively next week.
Okay, I'm from University of São Paulo. The course will start in 2 weeks from now, not next Monday, the following one. To be sincere, I'm new to Ruby and Rails. I'm a Perl and Python programmer, but I'm looking forward for this. It sounds very exciting, and well, that's it. I'm just getting acquainted to all this material, and no, that's it. That's it.
Will you be following? Do you expect to be following the textbook and the MOOC curriculum?
Yeah, definitely, yes.
Okay. So have you gotten Sam Joseph to set that up for you?
Yes, as everything is set up. I'm checking it, but so far it sounds okay. And we also have already some experience there. I don't know if you know Fábio Con, who translated the book to Portuguese. Yeah, we have a Portuguese translation, and that's what I'm using it here in Brazil. It's, I guess, the third time the course to be presented, and I'm the new teacher right now. So
Great.
so I'm using the experience that these guys had already. So I think you'll be fine, and I intend to follow the broadcast as well.
Good, very good. One of the things that we have some expertise in is all over the years we've all been dealing with edX and the SPOCs and issues and setting them up and anomalies that might happen as you're using them. So this is a good resource for bringing up questions and problems, and it's a lot of these we've seen before.
Great.
Do you have any?
Be very useful. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Rose, I sort of cut you off just because I wanted to get through the introductory level.
That's great.
And what was then you started to talk about another thing that.
Yeah. So Sam has been emphasizing the fact that when we do unit tests, we should make sure that the tests are testing sort of the results of what we want and not necessarily how we do it. Because if you test instead like how you do it, the implementation, the tests are brittle, and then it's harder to refactor. It's harder to maybe extend things later on, maintain things. But I'm noticing that when I write the code for the spec, if I don't include sort of an allowance for all the things going on, the tests fail and tell me that it can't find this, or it can't do that, or it's getting a message it didn't expect. And it's like, how do I get the spec to ignore the parts that I wanted to ignore and just focus on the pieces that I want? So there's some questions about that.
Okay. Yeah, and that's probably something we can bring up next week and have an opinionated discussion about. Yeah, because I've only used these tools in the context of the course, and I think sometimes that's not a typical use pattern. And so I think Sam, and working, and people who are doing things sort of for real might have a different or better perspective in these larger questions, like what's really the right way to do things. So I don't consider my opinion very valuable.
Right. Well, I mean, I can write specs and have them pass, taking in consideration all the different things that need to happen, or at least a particular way of it needing to happen. But when I try to write the specs more, okay, this is just the result I'm going for, and I'm not going to worry about the intermediate steps, I can't figure out a way for it to allow that to happen, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it has to do with, some of the test scaffolding that maybe if you could separate out the setup, even if that's implementation dependent, then the test itself could be separated from that. But that's vague.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what I'm saying. It's tricky.
Okay. So will this, Marco, will this be the first time you're running this within the context of a SPOC or MOOC or whatever?
Yes.
Okay. And how large is your class?
Just watching. Sorry?
How large is your class?
60 guys.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's somewhat large.
Are they relatively sophisticated and capable, or are they?
Oh, I guess they are. They'll have to learn Ruby, so do a crash course right in the beginning, but they are very competent and they learn fast. So they're very good students.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I don't have as good students, so I sort of slow down the class. I have a lot of scaffolding that I do. I have them spend several weeks on this Ruby Code Academy tutorial, and we have cobbled together some AutoGraders that can check that they've done it. It looks at their progress on the web, because otherwise students, unless we can grade them, students my students, many of them don't do the work. And I was just telling Rose at the beginning, when we start getting into Rails, I spend about 3 weeks just giving them practice in a variety of different ways before I send them right to the assignment.
And that's what I plan to do about 3 weeks. I guess we need this time for them to get used to the language and to the environment.
Yeah.
But I believe they will learn fast.
Yeah.
That semester, I gave them a huge assignment, and most of them were able to finish it. And so.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
good.
Yeah. In this environment, many things can go wrong, and especially if they're not used to working in a command line, and knowing how to look for errors, and knowing to be in the right directory, and knowing what errors. There's a lot of times they get these warning messages. Some can be ignored, and some need to be followed, and some it's hard to know. So a lot of the times, even though we have them in a uniform environment, they deviate from that environment fairly quickly, because different people do different.
I guess they will manage it, because they already had this trail before. So
that's good. That's a big help. Big help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else before? Like I said, I'm happy always to get back to my other classes. I was telling Rose, this class is just one of one class that I teach, and I have 2 other classes that really are taking the bulk of my time this semester, unfortunately. So
I'm lucky then, because I only have this semester. So
yeah, it's good when you can focus on just on this, and that's the way it was for us for a time, at least for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else before next week? So we have. I'll mention. Try and set up a little email summary of just a couple of things that we talked about, and then we'll continue, and hopefully our fearless leader will be with us next week.
Great. I may have problem to be here in next week. It's the first week on the semester, so I have the students' receptions, and I try to. Otherwise, from the following week on, I'll be joining you every time.
Great. That's good. Good to have some fresh blood. Blood. Yes.
I'll bring a new problem.
Yes. Good.
Great.
Okay. Sounds good. So I will see some of you. I'll see you next week, Rose, and maybe you in a week or 2. Marco.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Take care.
Thanks very much.
Welcome.
Take care.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.